What's up, guys? It's Jake Games here, and today I'm going to bring you a deck profile of my Crystons, or Crystrons, however you want to pronounce them. So let's get into it. Uh, for the main part of the deck, I play 3 Citri, 3 Quan, and 2 Riones. These are going to be your main components of the deck because they're all tuners and they all have very special effects. So what Citri does is whenever it's in main phase or battle phase for your opponent, he revives something that was in your graveyard that's a Crystron and special summons it, and then you automatically synchro summon, but the cards get banished. For Quan, he does the exact same thing, only he targets something in your hand, and the cards don't get banished. They go to the grave. And then for Rion, same thing. He does it during the main phase or battle phase, and he summons something that was in your banished zone that isn't a tuner. But that's what's key to note with these cards, is they all summon something that isn't a tuner. And with Rion, the last thing to note is he shuffles the cards back into the deck. So he's really good at 2 or 3, but I put him at 2 just because at 3, seeing him too much would be a little too cloggy, and I don't really want to have that issue in this deck. So next, I play 3 Rosenix. Rosenix is an interesting card to say the least, because what Rosenix does is all Crystrons share this ability where if you destroy a monster on your side of the field, or anything that's face up, you can special summon a tuner from your deck. So you get easy access to those guys. Well, and that's where your plays go off. But it's their engrave effects that really are awesome in my eyes. Because Rosenix, what it does is if you banish it from the game, you automatically special summon a level 1 token, and you can go into your lower synchro plays. I played 3 Crystron Smigir, I think is how it's pronounced. Smigir is, again, they share the same ability for the first part, but its second ability is a spell and trap for Crystron trap card searchers. So it's really good in the sense where you can get out your trap cards for Crystrons that automatically put your opponent into a lot of pressure. Next, I play 3 Crystron. I'm just going to call it Crystron Blue because I'm not going to pronounce that correctly. What Blue does is essentially when it's in grave and you banish it, it automatically special summons any Crystron from your deck. Which, if you combine its ability of summoning, popping to summon a tuner, and then banishing to automatically search out something else from your deck, you automatically have a synchro play you can make. And they don't have any effects saying they can't do it the turn they were sent to grave, so... last off, I play 1 Crystron Turtle. Turtle's probably the slowest card in the deck, but the only reason I run him at 1 at all is because he's got 2,000 defense and he's a nice wall, especially in today's game. But his second effect is okay. It's not the best of all the Crystrons, but what it does is it says you can banish the card from the game to special summon a card from your hand. I mean, it's nice if you want to try and get a tribute summon off, but that's not what this deck does. This deck focuses on more special summoning to get your synchro plays off, but it can be a dead card at times. And then for the last 2 cards, I play 1 Birdman, because, Birdman in a synchro deck is amazing. And 1 Ghost Ogre. Ghost Ogre, in my eyes, is something in this deck you want to run, but you don't have to. It's optional. So the monster count is... It's a 20 count monster, but that can be viewed... you can run it completely different. Onto the spells. It's pretty standard. 2 Pod Duality. Now, I know this could be debatable depending on who you are, because pot negates your special summoning. I'm only running it at 2 in case I do get that brick hand where I don't have anything to play. So that's why I'm running 2. Standard for the deck, 2 Moray of Greed. What it does is I can ditch 2 water cards and draw 3. So I'm plussing 1 off of 1 card. I might drop 1 Pot of Duality for a 3rd copy of Moray, but we'll just have to see. This is just a little fun card I like to play. 2 Parallel Twister. Now what this does is I destroy a spell or trap on my side of the board and destroy anything on the board in general. Why people don't play this in today's game, I don't know. And 1 Galaxy Cyclone. So destroy a set card on the board, banish from your grave, destroy a face-up card on the board. Except the turn the card was sent to the grave. So it's a 7-card spell count. Now, the reason I'm playing Parallel Twister goes off Smurger's ability. I'm playing 3 Crystron entry, which essentially, its first effect is special summon a Crystron tuner from your hand and graveyard. And then its second ability is banish the card from the graveyard and send a Crystron from your deck to the grave and target a monster on your side of the field and manipulate its level to match the one you just sent to the graveyard. I'm also playing 3 Crystron Impact. Impact says that you can special summon a banished Crystron from your graveyard, from your banish zone, and then when you banish the card, you can negate any effect that would target a Crystron monster and just shut that card down. I'm also playing 2 Call the Haunteds, 1 Dark Bribe, 1 Bottomless, 1 Solemn, 1 Compulse, and 1 Grandhorn. Grandhorn is an amazing card, and it is completely and should never be overlooked. The card shuts down way too many things. It can shut down ABC for all I know, because that's considered a special summon. So you can shut down ABC with Grandhorn and just end their main phase right there. So it's a 13 count for trap, so 27 and 13. Now for synchros, I'm going to try and go through this as fast as possible and explain everything. But I'm playing 3 Crystron Quandux. Quandux is a level 4 synchro tuner who basically, when he's synchro summoned, he shares the same ability as all the tuners in the Crystron deck, where he can synchro summon during battle phase or main phase of your opponent. But his ability is whenever he's killed by battle or card effect, he can resurrect any Crystron from the graveyard, as long as they're not synchros. For level 5s, I have 1 Crystron Armtex, or Aimtrix. Aimtrix is the level 5 counterpart to Quandux, who, when he's synchro summoned, he switches all your opponent's monsters into defense mode, and has the resurrection effect as well. For standard level 5, TG Hyper Librarian, it's a must in all synchro decks. Nothing else I can say at that. High Speed Roid Hagachi. Hagachi is just in here for damage. I mean, it's a nice level manipulation card, but it might get cut from the deck at some point. For level 6, High Speed Roid Kendara, or Kendama. It's in here mainly for piercing, because I don't like having to deal with opponents who will put monsters like Flamvel Guard or Bee Buster Drake in defense mode, and I can't get their life because of that. Goyo Guardian, another staple, because I just love stealing the opponent's cards and going into weird plays because of it. For 7, Black Rose Dragon, nuke the board. For 8s, I'm playing Stardust and Red Dragon. Stardust is pretty staple, but Red Dragon people are probably like, wait, you're playing Red Dragon? The reason I'm playing Red Dragon, it goes off the same thing with High Speed Roid and Goyo. I don't like dealing with defenses. I like to go in and push for damage as fast as possible, and that's what I can do with Red Dragon. For level 9, Crystron Phoenix. Now, Phoenix is essentially the synchro fusion of Quandux and Aimtrix. You synchro summon them during your opponent's turn, or whenever you can, off of Quandux's effect. You make Phoenix. Phoenix automatically goes onto the board, but when this is summoned, if your opponent doesn't have an activation effect or negation to this card summoning, his effect will resolve, which banishes all of your opponent's set or face-up spell and trap cards on the board, and any spells and traps in their graveyard, which is really good. And then it also has the resurrection effect. And then lastly, for level 11, I play Star Eater. Just because Star Eater is a really good card, and it's like an Ancient Gear Golem. You can't shut it down the turn it's summoned, unless you solemn it or something. So yeah, that is the Crystron deck profile.